hear this expression time to time that someone could build, it takes 20 years to build a reputation with 5 minutes to destroy it. Well, unfortunately, Pat Fitzgerald found out in a pretty nasty way. So just if you haven't heard of, if Northwestern University is going through a lot with hazing incidents. Some of them have been pretty bad. And honestly, I think they would have gotten away with it, because hazing's everywhere, right? It's in school. Hazing really is another word for bullying. And bullying, unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way. And we can try to limit bullying, but you're never going to completely end it, right? I guess this is a power to try limiting it, but hazing is a form of bullying. I think Northwestern, though, would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for all the dang nudity. Like there's so much nudity in all this. And we're not going to completely talk about it. Cause gosh, geez, like how did they not undercover this before? But anyways, there was a wide receiver who played at Northwestern from 2001 to 2005. He described a little bit about this. So Northwestern, every summer they go up to, funny enough, my hometown. I've actually been to this camp, so that's a little disturbing knowing that some of this was going on. I went to Camp Kenosha because that's where they hold their week long summer camp for Northwestern football right before the season starts. And this wide receiver this was early 2000s, right before Pat Fitzgerald became coach. So even before Pat Fitzgerald, he said that for underclassmen, what they would have is they would have all the offensive linemen, shocker, get in front of the shower doors nude, and you would have to get by them. And then other stuff, including that, I heard about the naked pull-ups, and there's some other crazy stuff that I'm not going to go into describing. We're going to stop right there. But you can look it up just to see like how far they went. And how far they went to me signifies like how many years they've been doing it. I'm sure you don't start doing naked pull-ups on day one, right? With all this hazing stuff, it takes years and years. Okay, how are we going to make this more extreme? How are we going to make this more extreme? And it's a little bit of a slippery slope. So I think overall, if they did not touch the nudity, this probably would have never became. But like, it just got so graphic that it became criminal in a sense. They brought 4 suits. Even a volleyball player, I don't know much about that, has brought a suit too against the university. So it might have been university-wise. So honestly, his legacy is tarnished because as the coach, you're the enforcer. Pat Fitzgerald, you're the enforcer. If you see this, you smack it down. You're the boss. That's up to you. You have to own it. Because in the end, they are kids. I mean, I'm not excusing any criminal behavior, of course, but they are kids. But you have to be the enforcer, and he was not. So yes, no, this completely tarnishes his legacy. Maybe he can rebuild it, but he's always going to have this against him, and that's very unfortunate because Pat Fitzgerald, seemed like a cool dude. But anyways, Jake, overall thoughts on this first?
Yeah. This is disgusting. I think Pat Fitzgerald should be ashamed of himself. I think Northwestern did the right thing about firing him. Um, I think this might prevent him from ever getting a job again. I really don't know.
It depends on how bad it gets. Not yet, but maybe. You might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
I'm
think it's
gonna
a,
save my
I
helmet
think
that
it's
time. What's up?
horrible. I think it's horrible from Fitzgerald, though. I think it was horrible.
Yeah, I could see it right now. I could see him getting hired again. I could see Saban or someone taking a chance on him. But if it gets worse, then that might be ball game. Jake might be right. Because we still don't know. I've heard articles saying that this might be the biggest college scandal ever. We got to keep in mind Penn
Yeah.
State had a pretty big scandal not too long ago, and that involved some very nasty stuff. So I'm not saying they're saying it's the worst crime, but we don't know. Hazing could get pretty ugly. So how should teams regulate hazing then? Because it's always something to talk about the fun problem, yada yada. But the solution, what is the solution to this? Well, the solution, college football coaches are super powerful, right? We've seen it. Like, remember Urban Meyer, when he was at Ohio State, he thought he was all that, and then he goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and all the players like laugh him off. Like, what does this guy think he's doing? He's going around acting
Yeah.
like a dummy, right? Because he
Like a hot shot.
had so much power in college over the kids, because the kids have to listen to them. Oh, you don't listen to me? there goes your scholarship. Oh, I don't know where it went. I'm sorry. I don't know where it went.
Uh,
So you have to use the power that you have as a football coach. Yes, you might be a spoiled, like Urban Meyer, but you could use it for good too. That's the thing. You could use it for good. So if you see this, you could shut this down right away. Oh yeah, if you partake in this, you're losing it. But the thing is, what's unfortunate, I think Pat Fitzgerald was all on board on this, and that's what we're going to learn more about, I think, which is disgusting. It's unfortunate. And there's probably, Northwestern's a highly respected institution. So I'm not saying for sure it's going on other places. I would not be surprised if some SEC schools had some stuff we got to figure out too. But how would you regulate this, Jake?
okay. I think I think I'll agree with Evan here. You have a lot of power as a college coaching. I think you got as soon as this happens, I think you gotta shut it down. You just gotta shut it down because it's not acceptable in any kind of setting. Whether that be on the football field, whether that be in school, whether that be anywhere really. It's just not acceptable anywhere. So you gotta shut it down as soon as you see it, as soon as it happens.